Today we're at the Georgetown Loop Railroad. We missed it last time we were here. This is the most popular train ride in North America.
Whatever.
Are you too excited to be here or not?
Oh wait, does this have personal?
Let's take a look at all the people.
Those of you on board the train, please roll the slack out of the cars. Expect some slight movement, but it should only be a couple of feet. That's good, thank you.
Yeah, you guys like to open? Let's go by the engine.
All right. This is where we're sitting.
No, we should go back right there. I want to go back on the
We even got some good railroad music today.
Ready. And with those two blocks of the whistles, we are beginning our journey westbound to Silver Plume. Sit back, relax, and enjoy the ride, folks.
coming up on the big bridge. Another real old engine. Oh, look at that. Oh, shit.
The train will be leaving the station at exactly 3:10. I recommend heading back to the train at about 3:07 to 3:05. Now up here in Silver Plume, we have the original 1884 depot with a small gift shop inside. We also have restrooms available. And if you folks feel the need to smoke, you can do so only in the parking lot. To get to the smoking area, you'll go through the depot, then across the tracks into the parking lot. Straight ahead of you in the parking lot will be the smoking area. Now once again, folks, our scheduled departure time is at 3:10. You have about 13 minutes from now to check out Silver Plume. And for those of you with any sort of mine tour or gold panning tours, that is not this stop. This is the western end of the line. And so we'll be heading back down the hill to the 11 on mine platform for all of you folks that have the tour. Now please remain seated until I call.
We switched cars so we can get away from the loud engine on the way back down. I don't know how loud that engine's going to be on the video. Headed back down to Georgetown now.
It brought miners, their families, and resources up here to the small mountain communities. It then brought the rich gold and silver ore back down to the mills in Golden and Denver to be processed. All this mining revenue continued until 1893, when the Sherman Silver Purchase Act was repealed. The price of silver, no longer being controlled by the government, plummeted to the point where mining for it was no longer profitable. At the time, tourism was taking over as the main source of revenue for this railroad, as the fame of the Georgetown Loop spread. As the fame of the Georgetown Loop spread throughout the country and even the world, thousands of people came to ride on what was considered a scenic engineering marvel of the 19th century. It was quite fashionable to hop aboard a train in the morning at Denver's Union Station, then ride up over the loop and have a picnic lunch in Silver Plume. They'd have enough time to ride back down to Denver and be back in time for dinner. One direction on that trip took about 4 hours. To the left of the train is an area we call the ballpark. That's because in the early days, there were no trees up here in the valley. They had all been cut down for building cabins, mine structures, and for firewood. So the miners of the valley built themselves a baseball diamond here, and they often spent the weekend enjoying picnics and ball games. Now perhaps those miners were the original Colorado Rockies baseball team. But I'm not sure how they compare to today's Rockies, considering those miners were playing in the minor league. I know, it's a pretty rocky joke, huh? Well, don't worry, just like this train, my jokes only go downhill from here. Now this railroad is narrow gauge, just like the original GB&L, which means the rails are 3 feet apart. Most railroads in our country use standard gauge, where the rails are 4 feet 8.5 inches apart. That odd figure is attributed to the distance between the wheels of Roman chariots. It's based on the width of 2 horses pulling the chariot. Narrow gauge was far more practical for mountain railroading. The smaller cars were able to negotiate sharper curves, just like high fill, and they were also lighter, which meant less work for the engines to handle on steep grades. Speaking of steep grades, we are now on the steepest portion of our line. This is a descending 4% grade. Every 100 feet forward we travel, we drop 4 feet in elevation, and 3 of our cars are roughly about 100 feet long, which means that our locomotive 12 feet lower than the last car on our train. Notice the large automobile-sized boulders on either side of the train. Back in the day, these were all here. I'd like to remind folks, if you have cameras on sticks, do not stick them outside the cars. Complain about cleaning their room? Just send them up here to the railroad and we'll put them to work. Lighting's dynamite.
If you take the mine tour, you get off here on the way back down. If you just take the train ride, it's $35 per person for just the train ride. $60 if you take the mine tour. That's why all these people are getting off here.
Alrighty folks, this is the last call for mine tours. If you were given any colored wristbands with your tickets, please make your way to the center of the train or you will miss your tour.
Alright, we're back on the trail. We dropped all the mining tour folks off.
There's a small prospecting camp. That's home to our friend Charlie. He's a longtime resident and prospector here in the valley. He's hoping to strike it rich one of these days, but I think he just worked himself to the bone. In the heyday of the mining era, the Upper Clear Creek Valley produced about $200 million worth of silver. So that's quite a chunk of change, and if we account for inflation, in today's economy, that's about $5
There's an old silver mine down there.
worth of silver. Georgetown produced so much silver, in fact, that they decided to pave their streets and sidewalks with argentiferous galena, also known as silver ore. Now, the Hall Tunnel was originally designed as a transportation and drainage tunnel through Leavenworth Mountain. They designed to use it to de-water the mines and bring all the ore from the mines on the south side of the mountain through the train to be loaded here for shipment. Or through the tunnel to be loaded here on the train for shipment. However, as they were digging the tunnel, they ran into some unforeseen obstacles and had some rather unfortunate luck. Or rather, I should say, some fortunate luck, considering those obstacles were some of the richest silver veins ever discovered here in the valley. Now that silver distracted the miners, and they decided to turn their efforts towards mining the silver as opposed to finishing the tunnel. To this day, that tunnel still does not reach the other side of the mountain. Now this mine was so successful that it survived the repeal of the Sherman Silver Purchase Act, as well as World War I and the Great Depression, and it even outlived this railroad, finally shutting its doors in 1942, after the federal government mandated all precious metal mining efforts had to be put towards America's entry into World War II. On the left-hand side, or downhill side of the train, you folks will notice a small set of tracks winding their way through the trees. Those tracks are the lower tracks of the loop that we were on when we departed Devil's Gate Station, and we'll be on those tracks in just a few minutes. For those of you not familiar with the story of the Georgetown Railroad, it was the surveyor's answer to getting the railroad from Georgetown to Silver Plume. You see, the two towns were about 2 miles apart, but they differed in elevation of over 650 feet. If the rails had been laid straight up the floor of the valley, the grade would have exceeded 6%, and it looked awfully identical to I-70. Now, with a slight grade of just over 2%. That means that the end the train is entering now is about 6 feet higher than the opposing end at the top of our parking lot. For those of you afraid of heights, don't look down. It's 75 feet to the lower tracks of the loop, and 100 feet to the crisp cold waters of Clear Creek. If you're afraid of heights, I do have a solution for you though. I want you to look around on the floor of the car you're in. There's bound to be a small rock or pebble rolling around on that floor. I want you to pick it up and start rolling it between your fingers. Really focus on it as you do this.
Look how high this is.
I can guarantee that you'll
Ooh, this is really high up.
Thank you. I'll be here all week. Now, if I can get everyone's attention to the left side of the train, and I mean everyone's attention, we'll tip over.
Did you see that?
Now, she was built for export, which means that after her completion,
That's about the end of the train ride. Thanks for watching.
Sold out of the country to the international